Despite his victory, President-elect Trump is still facing a slew of legal cases, including those 34 felony counts in New York for falsifying business records. David Spunt is in Washington, D.C. with details on how the president-elect will win, how the win, rather, will impact those cases. David.
Well, hey, Harris, a judge at the end of November has a sentencing scheduled for President-elect Donald Trump on November 26. It's pretty obvious that Trump's attorneys will ask for some sort of delay or something, given the fact that he is now the next president of the United States, number 47. But we have some news about special counsel Jack Smith, this man right here. Donald Trump said recently that he would fire Jack Smith, quote, within 2 seconds of taking office. Well, we found out that he may not have that opportunity. The reason is that the Department of Justice, where Jack Smith works, cannot prosecute a sitting president. Fox News is told that Jack Smith will be gone from his post as special counsel, meaning the cases will be gone before Trump takes the oath of office at noon on January 20th. This is the documents case, though that was dropped already by Judge Eileen Cannon back over the summer, and it's on appeal, but also this case for Trump's alleged efforts to try to overturn the 2020 election. So given the fact DOJ policy says you cannot prosecute a sitting president, expect Jack Smith's cases to be done. The last case, and I'll end on this, is that Atlanta case that deals with the 2020 elections. That's a local Georgia case. We've seen over the last year how that has played out with Fonnie Willis, Nathan Wade. That has many problems, many different delays. So the bottom line for my story to all of you right now, Donald Trump's legal problems have essentially all gone away since he won last night. Harris.
David, thank you very much. I want to take it out of the legal lane for just a second with you, Brian, and just talk about how voters look upon these issues.
Do you notice that they never said, and she rarely said, convicted felon? You know, the debate he brought up a couple of times in June. After that, you don't even hear it. They're not at the DNC. He's a convicted felon. Once in a while, you hear someone straight and say that.
And she was a former prosecutor.
Like one of the celebrities would say something like that. But for the most part, they must have tested terribly. And one of the reasons is they make you examine the case. Why is he a convicted felon? You want to have that argument? The biggest joke of a case. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need Trey Gowdy or to have Kayleigh McEnany retained to understand this was a Frankenstein case. It never should have been tried. Number one, he looks like a sympathetic person. Number two is there are 30 million felons in this country, many of which trying to get a second chance in life. And when you diminish somebody who allegedly was convicted of a felon, you're ripping them and their family who are trying to make it in life and feel a lot of headwinds. So that's one of the reasons why that dog didn't hunt.
You know, I also wondered, Kayleigh, if there wasn't some sort of containment theory about how much lawfare was against him. And he would always use that line, if it happens to me, it could happen to you. I wonder what people's perspective of that was, if that would be their own personal assumption, too.
I think they realize this is the heavy hand of government that could come down on me as well. There was a really important moment in this campaign, and it kind of went under the radar. We played it on the show. I thought it was really important. And it's when a crowd at a Trump rally was chanting, "Lock her up," meaning Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump waved off the crowd, and he noted he chose not to go after Hillary Clinton. It wouldn't have been good for the country. That was Donald Trump's reaction. Then I read in the New York Times, Katie Rogers, I still cannot get over this. Listen to this closely. Mr. Biden privately told his close circle of advisors that Trump posed a threat to democracy, should be prosecuted for his role in the events of January 6th, according to two people familiar. And he also told confidants he wanted AG Merrick Garland to stop acting like a ponderous judge. Biden backgrounded to the New York Times. He wanted Trump prosecuted for January 6th. Donald Trump told a rally crowd, we won't lock her up. It's not good for the country. I am thrilled today because lawfare has gone to the grave. No more lawfare in this country.
Sandra.
Bill Barr, hopefully he's joining us on our program this afternoon.
Oh, good.
He says prosecutors should do the right thing, his words to Fox News Digital, and dismiss these Trump cases, respect the people's decision. He said the former AG, Merrick Garland, and state prosecutors should help the country move forward. He makes the case to Digital, which is a fascinating read. If you can take a look at it, it's on .com right now. He said the American people, when they cast their ballot in this election, they knew of the allegations against him. They should put these aside and let him do the job that the people elected him to do.
Interesting. All right. And I'll tune in for that, too.
Hopefully Hopefully he has time for us.
Yeah, I agree. Look, the only people who were using the phrase convicted felon were members of the mainstream media, because I read that a lot. But the reality as well is that the son of the current president is also a convicted felon. So I think the glass house analogy wore and rang true for the campaign of Kamala Harris and the like. And the reality, too, to your point, is most Americans know someone who's been convicted. The fastest growing populations in our incarcerated system are veterans and single mothers. It is very real, the plight of those being prosecuted in this country, frankly, for absolute crap. So people like Mark Houck, people like Parlett Harlow, that's the elderly pro-life demonstrator. I mean, yes. Peanut. Right, the wielding and the weaponization of the administrative state and the prosecutions by the DOJ under this current administration have known no bounds. Donald Trump was absolutely right to say, this prosecution of me, you are next. Amen. We all saw it during those 4 years. So frankly, the Americans saw through the sham that was the Frankenstein prosecution. They also saw, however, the case that's not going away, which is Hunter Biden's. So the real corruption existing, the real evasion existing, the real, look, this is what I want my tax dollars to go toward, which is helping Americans to thrive, and those that really break the law to be put behind bars, not those criminals running rampant, not those that have had issues with the regulatory state. So it was quite clear, I think, to the average American voters like myself, who needs to be free and who needs to actually have accountability for their actions. And Donald Trump, now that he's safe and sound in the White House moving forward, absolutely, those sham prosecutions will fade away because they were shams to begin with. If they actually had teeth, they wouldn't have.
And Amen. It's such opposition to what the left was saying about, well, who broke democracy, the existential lifeblood of democracy that they said that they were trying to protect. This would go against that if you're going after your political opponent. I mean, that is pretty damning, what you read.
Damning.
Yeah.
No one reported on it.
What about the civil
other than
case?
us?
What about the civil case, too?
Yeah,
the civil case, they're trying to take $900 million from them.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.